So let's talk about console gaming and the price of console gaming going up, and it will be going up. So let's get started with this. So about a year ago, I made a video about consoles. The $1,000 console coming around the block. I said that, and first I said that because the PlayStation 5 Pro was $700. By the time you added the stand and uh a disk drive, you were looking at almost $800 for that console, when it first came out. So it was pricey and, like, you know, Sony did not drop down the price of the regular PS5. In fact, the price has gone up since as well. The price of Xbox has gone up in price, 100 to $150 in price has increased. The cost of the Xbox to acquire an Xbox. So with all of that, a lot of things came to mind. First, it was tariffs, right? So first Sony came out with the $700 console. I'm like, okay, now they're pushing it. Then all these things with tariff, Trump wins, goes to the White House, he puts all these tariffs in all these countries, and then sometime last May, was it last May or March? I think that maybe April of last spring. Uh, Xbox puts out a statement saying they're increasing the price of their consoles, which obviously a lot of people didn't like that, but they did that. They said that macroeconomics or something or whatever, something to do with macroeconomics, right? The state of the world, pretty much. And at that time we assumed it was tariff. The Nintendo Switch 2 came out. That was definitely the price on the Nintendo Switch 2 was higher than what everybody expected. Everybody was expecting maybe a $400 console, but the Switch came out at 449 or 599 or 499, $500 for the version that comes with Super Mario World cart. And um and then later on, and PlayStation raised prices. Uh and PlayStation had already raised prices in Europe the year before. A lot of people just weren't talking about it, but then PlayStation announced that we're going to raise prices here as well. Since then, Xbox raised prices and again 2 times this year on hardware. Nintendo increased prices on their hardware on the Nintendo Switch One and accessories for it. And you start thinking, what is going on? I mean, you naturally we're thinking tariff, right? Well, now this big nuclear bomb just went off called AI, and AI consumes a lot of memory. It's the thing. It's the main one of the main things that it needs is tons of memory because it has to hold all of these parameters all at once to be able to have maintain a context of your conversations with it. Like the more it remembers about you, the more memory it needs. So they need a lot of memory for AI to be able to do what it does. So all these AI companies are now buying everything they can buy when it comes to RAM. They're going to all the manufacturers to buy all the RAM they can possibly supply because everybody's building these big AI data centers. A lot of them are using NVIDIA stuff. A lot of them are using AMD stuff. Google has their own AI chips. And Amazon, I believe, they got their own AI chip along with the NVIDIA chips. And so does Microsoft. Microsoft data centers have NVIDIA and AMD, and they have their own Microsoft building their own AI processor or NPU or TPU, whatever they're going to call those things. But the whole point is that memory has become very expensive. If you look at the prices over the last few weeks or the last few months, couple months, the price of memory has almost quadrupled, if not even more than quadruple in some cases. It's insane that let's take a look right now. See how much memory is. All right, we're gonna look at DDR5, and DDR5 for 32 gigs of memory, 216 sticks of Trident memory is $339. That's expensive memory. You I'm pretty sure I got these. I got my all of my systems have 32 gigs. I have several desktops. They'll have 32 gigs of RAM. And I would say that on some of them I spend maybe $120, 100 and something dollars. I don't remember ever going over $150 for memory, but now if you want this memory, it's 339.99. If you want the ones with that are faster, 369, 370. Let's see what let's check some other brands. Oh, here's some Trident Royal Neo series for $420. So RAM now is almost more expensive than the CPU, or around the same price as the CPU, which is insane. Here's another set of RAM, RGB RAM, 64 gigs, $636 for 64 gigs of RAM. $639 for 64 gigs of RAM. Now, this is a big deal. And what's happening is that manufacturers are using their facilities to manufacture the memory for AI companies, for enterprise type of memory. So now how does this affect gaming? Well, your gaming devices like the Xbox and the PlayStation have memory, and they use a lot of memory. And let's see the PS5, how much RAM does it have? It has 16 gigs of RAM. So it's very likely that Sony has a deal in place that is going to lock in some of the price that they pay, but it's probably that probably fluctuates at some point. At some point, they probably got to renew these contracts. So when they go to renew these contracts for the next batch of PS5 that they're going to manufacture, that price of memory is going to be accounted for, and memory is going to be costing more. Then it's going to cost twice as much as what it was before. So that means that the PlayStation 5 is gonna be more expensive sometime next year. Once they start building the new place, like the PlayStation 5s are gonna be manufactured at the end of this year and early next year to go and sell, let's say by like next summer, are gonna have that price increase in them already. And not just that, Xbox as well. Xbox is gonna have to be, their price is gonna go up because of memory, and I'm pretty sure that Nintendo does will probably go up as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if the PS5 Pro goes up to like $900 sometime next year in 2026. So yeah, so it's very simple. Manufacturers are reducing their capacity for consumer memory so that they can use that capacity to develop and manufacture enterprise level memory that they use in data centers and AI data centers and AI period and AI servers. And that's going to increase the price of these because they're going to have to increase the price because they're going to make less of it, and for them to make it worthwhile, because they could say for the same, they could probably make way more money doing enterprise memory than they can do consumer memory, which is why there was just an announcement that the company named Micron. Micron is one of the biggest memory manufacturers in the world. I believe there's only like three that actually manufacture computer memory, and Micron is one of them. Well, Micron owns Crucial Memory. So Crucial Memory is a consumer brand of Micron. So if you ever bought an SSD or a RAM, you probably came across the brand Crucial, Yeah, and they make good stuff. They've been around for like 30 years. I used them in the past. I still got old hard drives, SSD drives. Some of the early SSD drives that I bought came from Crucial, and they're still working somewhere in around here, so they still work. Um, so they make good quality products, and they announced that they were leaving the consumer market, and that means computer memory for gaming, the consumer market. So it's very likely that and they already announced that they are gonna be shipping stuff through the, end of Q2 of 2026, which I think is in February or March or something. That'll be that's they're about to ship out all they have left during that time. So these memory prices are gonna go up even higher than what you're seeing right now. So here, 64 gigs, $639 for 64 gigs of RAM, of DDR5 RAM. And that is going to affect consoles because consoles use RAM and they use DDR5 RAM. Uh, yeah, how many did I look up how much RAM is in a PS5? I don't want to get it wrong, but I think it's 8 to 16. It's 16. Okay. DDR6, which DDR6 is more expensive, is more powerful, it's faster, and it's probably what the stuff that the DDR6 and DDR7 is probably what they're using for AI. So all of that's gonna affect the price of consoles. I see some folks on YouTube being, fanboys. There's this PlayStation fanboy, and he posted, "Those build a PS5 Pro killer PC for the same price videos are about to be even funnier." No, they're not. And guess what? What's gonna be funnier? The price of PlayStation is gonna go up. And by the time that the PlayStation 6 comes around, which they're saying supposedly the rumor is that Sony's targeting 2027, which I think is too early for them because they have this new technology that they're developing through Project Amethyst with AMD. But the PS6 is probably gonna come out 2029 or even 2030. The reason for is that these RAM prices are gonna continue going up and up and up, and it's probably gonna stay like this for a while. People are very excited about AI. All these companies are throwing everything, all their money at AI. And what's gonna happen is, yeah, there's gonna be an AI bubble, but it won't be for a while. The AI bubble is gonna happen maybe 2 to 3 years from now, and I lived through the dot com. I've been video gaming for 39 years. I lived through the dot com, uh, bubble back in 2000 where all these internet companies back then it was the internet companies and search engines and, just people doing cool things on the internet became, companies, and these companies were overvalued in the stock market. And at some point, there was a bubble, it busted. The bubble busted, it busted, and what I call bust, people that are educated in finance call it correction, market correction. If something happens where a new technology is released, there's so much hype, they put so much money on top of it, and then at some point, the market realizes that it has been overpaying for this stuff, and then overcorrects because people start selling their stocks once they start realizing that. Uh, anyways, not to get too technical about the stocks on it, but um, yeah, prices are about to get higher. I believe that the next Xbox is definitely going to be probably my guess is going to be like a $1,200 console. I think PS6 is probably going to be 999. Is my take on this. So I'm gonna definitely put this in the description because I want to be able to come back next summer and look at my prediction on this right now. So, being that the AI bubble is not going to pop for a while, and memory prices are going to continue to go up, and it's going to make it incredibly expensive to build consoles because of it. Um, that what are the manufacturers gonna do? They're not gonna stop building the consoles, the PS5, they're just gonna increase the prices and sell them because there's still gonna be a market for them. Somebody's still gonna buy the device at whatever price it is. People have all different types of budget, so just because you can't afford it at 900 doesn't mean somebody else can. Somebody else will actually buy it at 900. Um, so the prices will go up. Consoles will still sell, probably not as much, but they'll be very expensive. And when the next generation, which is already in production now, when that next generation comes out, by then, it's probably going to be right before that bubble, right before the AI bubble pops or market correction happens. Uh, and it's possible that the PlayStation 6 is probably going to cost $1,000 easily. And that's right now, based on what we've seen, based on all the evidence of what's happening in the market with RAM, DRAM, GDDR RAM, DDR6, DDR5, DDR7 RAM. It is insane what's happening in the market with those prices, and that is going to affect console gamings. Don't be naive and go out thinking this is only going to affect PC gamers. It's not. It's going to affect all of us. All of us. So if you haven't built a PC in a while, you probably won't be building one for a while unless you got the cash to do so. But if you got a PC right now, make sure you hold on to it because that PC might be the only one you're gonna have for a while, unless you're gonna pay an arm and a leg for a desktop because of RAM. Because RAM now costs as much as a video card. That is crazy. That RAM, 64 gigs of RAM costs just as much or more or as much as the AMD 9070 XT. So there it is. Wanted to put that out. Um, just started thinking about it. I'm like, man, this is a scary place. It's similar to 2020. In 2020, there was crypto was a big deal, and crypto was about to peak, and there was a crypto coin called Ethereum that you can mine with your GPU. So all these people were buying GPUs to mine, and they used to use GPUs with Bitcoin in the early days. But then ASICs came out. ASICs are these dedicated hardware that were much better at hashing Bitcoin. Uh, so uh, the only coin that was really fully profitable with GPUs after that was Ethereum. And Ethereum, they went proof of stake. They went from proof of stake to from proof of work to proof of stake. I'm not gonna get and explain that some crypto speak right there, but Ethereum for a while was you were able to mine Ethereum with GPUs. So like when I was in gaming, my computer was on mining Ethereum and I was making money. Um, so at that time, people started buying a lot of GPUs, and the price of GPUs went up. I don't have to remind you. This has been happening for like the last 3 years. It just got better recently after Ethereum went to proof of stake and changed the way that they mine for coins. And at that point, GPU mining wasn't a thing anymore. So the prices of video cards came back down. Some of it, not all of it, but they came back down in price. And that's very similar to what's going to happen with RAM. There's going to be a high demand for RAM, high price, and at some point, the AI bubble is going to pop, or the market self correction. Once the market is corrected, the investment into AI is gonna drop. It won't be the same as it is today. It will drop, uh, and that's gonna cause RAM to go down in price. But unfortunately, that's probably not going to happen before the release of the next generation of video game consoles. So, all right, well, appreciate you being here. Click like on the video, and I'll see you in the next one.